There are no huge helpings of Bovier here in the TSPL. That's the top secret podcast layer. I'm your host, Kavan Bordelon. This is hour 2 of Implicit Bias. Always more fun. As yes, we told you it's on the bingo card. Cow farts. People are actually concerned about this. Before we get to that, though, the crew here in the TSPL, and that's crew with a K, Caleb Morse, the rustic renegade in the chair, much like mine. At the bar, Danny Izo sitting on your left, Jonathan Broussard sitting on your right, and we are partaking of the Forbidden series, which, by the way, yes, the small batch is delicious.
Told you.
The single barrel, oh my.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh my. Get them at Mr. Lester's Steakhouse, the only 5-star restaurant between New Orleans and Houston, down at Cypress Bayou Casino. $15 a pour, $40 for the flight.
Even if they don't remember what it is, just say, pour me that fancy bottle.
Yeah, because the bottles, as you can see, are absolutely beautiful. So Mr. Lester's is doing everything they can to reduce bovine methane emissions.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, on a nightly basis, right? Every night they're open, they are reducing the amount of bovine methane emissions. What should we call that? BMEs? Bovine methane emissions? BMEs from here on out, right? Because, yeah, they're going to feed you a tasty steak. But here's the crazy part. Does anybody want to take a wild guess who the expert, and we talked about the experts earlier on this show, who the expert is that's telling us that we need to be concerned about BMEs?
Look, to be truthful, he owns a metric ton of farmland.
He does.
Now, he's not running the farm. He's not running the ranches.
He just bought because he has enough money.
Yeah.
He just has enough money. But who is that guy we're talking about? Anybody want to help out the rest of the crew? Walker, do you know who it is? Did you actually read the article?
No, he knows. I can see it in his face.
Walker, who is it? Because you read the article.
I'm not going to lie.
We knew this. We knew you didn't read the article. All right. At the bar.
Big Bad Bill.
Mr. William Gates.
Yep. Bill Gates. So the guy who made his money in software is now, well, we got to remember, he went from software expert to vaccine expert.
Right. Yeah.
From vaccine expert to fart expert.
No, you're skipping the human population expert.
Well, this is true, but that was part of the vaccine thing.
Yeah, valid.
Because he said that he would use vaccines to decrease
control the
population.
to decrease it by 2/3.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's using this for the bovine. Less people will eat less beef.
Well, and part of what he said when he did this was his pitch on what's the
Well, it's climate change is what he's saying.
Yeah, but his pitch on what's the meat that he owns? He owns two different companies.
Well, so he's also
impossible.
Yeah, there's a twofold pitch here. Number one is that there is a feed that apparently has been developed that will reduce the methane production in cattle.
It reduces the gassiness of your cow.
So forget feeding a cow what a cow has eaten since the dawn of time.
That God created them to eat.
Correct. So
we know better than God at this point in time, right? That's what he's saying.
I love the people who talk about, I want all natural, but I want us to create a feed for cattle that isn't natural.
And who created this feed? Is his name in?
Is it? I don't know. Is it? I mean,
I don't know.
It might be. I'm sure he's got something on the patent.
He's heavily invested in
I would
less farts.
I'm willing to bet he's heavily invested, and his name doesn't appear anywhere.
Well, that's probably a big part of it.
And look, I would be hard pressed if we sat down and I don't even want to taste it. If you're like, look, Caleb, this is the impossible or the fake meat, because that's the other thing he pushes is synthetic meat. It's like, this is the fake meat, or you can have this cow that was raised on a ranch, that had a good life, that was put down humanely, and was grass-fed. Give me that, right? Give me that, because what we can make and replicate and genetically modify is not the same thing.
Not even close.
I'm sorry. I don't want meat that comes out of a 3D printer.
Yeah.
Which is exactly how they make this fake meat. Agreed.
And when you look at like hunting, when you go out and you harvest your own meat, you harvest your own game, that meat tastes wonderful, right?
Yes.
Because you know what it ate, you know the area it's from, you worked it, you hunted it, you harvested it. Same thing with cattle. Good ranchers work it and they harvest it. Why? because they want to do this for generations. They're not in it for the short game. They want to do it long term. And that's why when you hear people complaining about the treatment of cows, the animal cruelty and all this other stuff, these are not the typical ranchers. Typical ranchers want this to last forever because they produce a good steak. Right. And I love a good dead cow.
They taste delicious. They do. But the ultimate point here that I just can't get around is, in order for us to apparently take care of Mother Nature, we have to be unnatural to do it. That circular logic just does nothing for me, because it's like, wait a minute. You either believe in the principle of natural or you don't.
Well, they're not feeding them like a real grass.
No.
It's
that
something synthetic. They're going to put in, it's not wheat, it's not barley, it's not rye. It's none of the things that we enjoy. They're like, you know what? We took hydrogen disulfide and we put in chlorine and this and that. I'm
going to argue with you just a bit, because I guarantee you that there's probably some wheat, some barley with some of the cattle, because Wagyu is fed a ritual diet that does include beer.
Okay.
It does include beer.
You're right.
It includes beer and a massage.
I yield.
And produces the most delicious cows.
Wonderful steak. Ground meat's not that good.
No, agreed.
It's way too fat.
And the steak, you can't even eat a whole bunch because there's so much fat.
God, it's so nice though.
While the flavor is there, man, give you the meat sweats real quick.
Yeah, that's a fillet, like 6 to 8 ounces.
Yeah,
that's about all you got.
But absolutely fantastic. And a Wagyu ribeye, the flavor on it is just. But you don't need a big, massive ribeye like we like to cook. Yeah. Anyway, so you've got Bill Gates out here propagating this, and I'm going, does no one also see the conflict of interest that Bill Gates has here?
No, why would we? Why would we care that he talks bad about cow flatulence when he has like 17 jets and 2 mega yachts?
How about this one?
I made those numbers up.
No, I never would have guessed that, Caleb. How about this? How about we look at the flatulence that comes from human beings, and those who are not contributing to the rest of us, those who are just taking from the rest of us.
Wait, fart sniffers?
Wait, what?
You said you went from flatulence to taking from the rest of us.
I don't mean taking farts from the rest of us. I mean
specificity.
Specificity?
It's hard to say right.
Yeah, especially when you're over there pouring 2 fingers at a time. Yeah. No, seriously though. And that's a joke. I would never think. But I mean, where does this stop? Right? So first of all, cows fart. Well, don't dogs fart? Don't cats fart? I mean, we did spend $10 million on drilling holes in cats' heads. Yeah. That's a whole nother story. If you missed that, find us on our socials. So you've got dogs, cats, let's see, buffalo. So bison probably fart. This is the one that really gets me.
Wouldn't there be more fish that do that than anything else?
Probably. How about this, though? Remember, they are trying to say that we are warming from a time when we were cooler. When we were cooler, do we know how many head of bison were on the plains in the United States?
Way more than there are now.
Way more than now.
Those delicious animals.
Oh, yes, they are. But I mean, and because they're significantly larger than cattle, that would be a significantly larger volume of methane from the expulsion of the rear end of the animal at once.
Valid point. I believe there was at one point a herd across North America was like 100,000 strong.
Oh, I thought it was larger than that.
It might have been.
I thought there was one herd that was 500,000.
It could easily have been. It was beyond my time.
I mean, you got to think at one point when they were building the railroads, they literally Buffalo Bill would sit in a rail car and just with a rifle and ammunition and just indiscriminately shoot every bison he saw for the heck of it, just to get them out of the way because they were viewed as a nuisance animal. Mm-hmm. Speaking of nuisance animal, nutrias probably fart. I would think nutrias.
That's a herbivore.
It's
really good.
Oh, hogs.
Herbivore or a fiber.
Correct.
If you go to your doctor and you have high cholesterol, which I found out recently, they will tell you to eat more fiber. And what does fiber do to your body?
It produces methane gas. Yeah, it does.
So are they going to change the whole scope of the medical field as to, you could have that heart attack as long as it doesn't affect the environment.
Yeah.
We don't care if you die of a heart attack. We do care if you break wind.
Just go peacefully.
And look, holding it in may create that heart attack. It might also create the final segment of this week's episode of Implicit Bias, where we talk about people doing what sounds impossible, but certainly is not, right after this.